先瞄准，问出，开火。
0622 hours. October 29th, 2025, Taiwan Strait. The first alert hit the radar console like a punch. 3 fast-moving contacts, low signature, tight formation, bearing 284, speed 28 knots. Inside the USS Mustin DDG-89, a U.S. Navy Arleigh Burke-class destroyer.
All stations, report status. Full attention.
The watch team snapped to full attention. The calm gray of dawn turned electric. No drills, no chatter, only the sharp beeps of the AN/SPY-1D radar slicing through the static.
Unknown surface vessels approaching from the west.
The combat technician called. The officer of the deck didn't hesitate.
Sound general quarters.
Klaxons echoed through steel corridors. Crewmen ran to stations. Watertight doors slammed shut. In less than 40 seconds, the destroyer was at combat readiness 1, 6-24 hours. Through the bridge windows, mist blurred the horizon. Then shapes appeared, 3 gray silhouettes cutting through the haze. Binoculars confirmed what the radar already knew. Plan vessels, Type 052D Luoyang 3 destroyers, 1 Type 056A corvette trailing. Chinese, armed, closing fast. The captain stepped forward, voice steady.
Open hailing frequencies.
Seconds later, the radio hissed alive. A clipped Mandarin accent filled the bridge. U.S. warship, this is the People's Liberation Army Navy. You are entering Chinese territorial waters. Alter course immediately. The captain leaned toward the mic. Negative. Operating in international waters under lawful navigation.
改变航向，最后警告。
The reply came sharper. Alter course. Final warning. The line went dead. No one moved. The tension was heavy enough to feel in the air vents. 6-26 hours. The Chinese ships changed formation, spreading wide, 1 ahead, 2 flanking. A perfect blocking wedge. They weren't here to escort. They were here to intimidate. Electronic warfare sensors flared yellow. The Mustin's SLQ-32 suite picked up directed radar beams, not search radar. Fire control radar.
They're painting us,
the EW officer said quietly. The captain's answer was just as calm.
Record everything. Maintain course.
6-28 hours. The first ship crossed the bow at less than 800 yards. Too close. Wake slammed against the Mustin's hull, rocking the deck underfoot.
Collision alert.
The helmsman corrected instantly, keeping the carrier line steady. Chinese sailors were visible now, standing on deck rails, phones raised, filming. A propaganda shot in real time. On the open net, a short-range transmission repeated,
"Alter course or be removed."
The captain didn't respond. He didn't need to. The ship's posture spoke for itself. 6:30 hours. Below deck, the Combat Information Center tracked everything. Range, 5,700 yards. Bearing, constant. Each Chinese destroyer maintained a perfect triangle. The Aegis console locked passive tracks on all 3. Missile solutions were ready but safe. No one wanted to start a war by accident. The tactical action officer looked up.
Recommend broadcast to Indopacom. Possible hostile encirclement. Do it.
The captain said. A flash priority message fired through encrypted satellite link. Unsafe maritime intercept by planned vessels. Taiwan Strait. Within minutes, Pacific Command Hawaii acknowledged receipt. Response assets placed on standby. USS Dewey, DDG-105, USS Barry, DDG-52, and a P-8A Poseidon on patrol near Okinawa. Help was coming, but not fast enough. 6:32 hours. The Chinese ships tightened again. Now, 4 contacts. Another 052D joining from the south. A box formation. Inside the combat center, heartbeats matched the pulse of sonar pings. The captain spoke quietly into the internal comm.
Condition 1 Alpha. No weapon release without my order.
Crewmen sealed hatches. Phalanx CIWS rotated automatically. Guns tracking sky arcs. Harpoon launchers armed. Safety locks engaged. The Mustin became a fortress at sea, motionless, waiting. 6:33 hours. New threat. Airborne contacts detected. Bearing 272. Altitude low. 2 Z-9 helicopters launched from the nearest Chinese destroyer. Their radar signatures pulsed like wasps on the screen. They dropped altitude to 400 feet, circling the Mustin's stern.
Phalanx to auto-track, ordered the captain. The gun turret whirred, locking on each helo in sequence. No shots, just a warning glow on Chinese sensors.
The helicopters banked away but stayed close, like predators testing range. 6:35 hours. Then the first digital assault began. Screens flickered. Radar feed froze for 2 seconds. Comms cut, then came back garbled. Jamming detected, the EW officer shouted. Frequency band S and X both hit. It was deliberate.
Switch to narrowband encryption. Backup satellite link only.
The captain ordered. Within 30 seconds, comms stabilized, but the message was clear. They were being blinded. 6:37 hours. Deep below deck, the sonar operator heard it. A faint, rhythmic ping, metallic and distant. Not surface, subsurface. Possible submarine, he said. Bearing 291, depth unknown. If true, the Mustin was now surrounded above and below. The Pacific's calm surface hid an invisible cage. The captain stared at the tactical display. Deploy passive sonar buoys. Keep eyes open. Outside, MH-60R. Seahawk helicopters prepared on the flight deck, rotors spinning. 6:39 hours. Above, dark clouds broke apart. The dawn light hit steel hulls. 4 Chinese destroyers glinting like blades. They were so close that sailors could read Chinese hull numbers with the naked eye. The Chinese flagship sent another open transmission. U.S. warship, you are violating Chinese sovereignty. Alter course or face consequences. The captain exhaled slowly. Maintain course and speed. Inside the combat center, voices dropped to whispers. The Mustin's entire crew, more than 300 men and women, stood at the razor edge of escalation. 6:42 hours. The sea went unnaturally still. Engines idled. Crew barely breathed. On every radar screen, 4 red icons glowed, each representing a vessel that could launch a missile within 10 seconds. The Mustin stood its ground, alone, encircled, silent. Over secure comms, Pacific Command's message arrived. Reinforcements ETA 9 minutes. Hold your position. Do not engage. The captain read it once, then looked at his team. 9 minutes can be a lifetime. He turned back to the window. Chinese guns still aimed, helicopters still circling, and somewhere below, a submarine waited for orders. 6:44 hours. The bridge lights dimmed to red. Every sailor at battle station. The Mustin cut power to external lights, running dark. Through night vision scopes, the enemy fleet shimmered like ghosts. Their formation was perfect, almost surgical. It was intimidation at its finest. The captain whispered to his XO, "They want us to flinch." "We won't, sir." 6:46 hours. Over the encrypted net came a single coded phrase from Hawaii. Operation Sentinel Veil active. Somewhere beyond the horizon, American reinforcements were airborne. But here, on this stretch of contested sea, 1 destroyer faced 4, and every passing minute stretched like an hour. At 6:48 hours, radar showed new signals. Faint blue icons inbound from the east. Friendly aircraft. Relief on the horizon. But the Chinese hadn't left yet. They were about to make one final move. 6:48 hours. Taiwan Strait. The ocean was steel gray and silent, but under that silence, chaos waited. Inside the USS Mustin's Combat Information Center, tension crackled through every console. The Chinese ships had formed a perfect box around the destroyer, 4 against 1, each with active fire control radars aimed directly at the American hull. Then came the transmission, a calm, sharp voice in Mandarin.
U.S. warship, you are violating Chinese sovereignty. Alter course or face immediate engagement.
The captain stood motionless. He stared at the glowing radar display, then lifted the mic. Negative. Freedom of navigation remains in effect. For 5 seconds, there was silence. 5 seconds that felt like hours. Then, movement. 6:50 hours. Suddenly, the radar feed flickered. Static, then blank. The main tactical display went black for 2 seconds. Electronic warfare. The Mustin was being jammed again, this time stronger, more focused. EW interference. Source bearing 290, shouted the technician. Range 3,000 yards and closing. Switch to passive sensors, the captain ordered. Route targeting through infrared. Screen stabilized. The American ship's systems reconnected through secondary networks. Backup encryption links lit the room with green indicators. They were blind for 6 seconds, but alive. 6:52 hours. Above deck, tension boiled. 2 Chinese Z-9C helicopters hovered just 300 feet above the sea. Their rotor wash hit the waves like hammer hammer blows. Each helicopter carried anti-ship torpedoes and YJ-9 air-to-surface missiles. The Mustin's phalanx CIWS rotated, tracking automatically, not firing, just watching. The radar-locked tone pulsed through the CIC like a heartbeat. Weapons ready. Safety on one wrong move from either side, and metal would meet metal. 6:53 hours. Then, without warning, a flare burst across the sky. A blinding flash from the Chinese flagship's deck gun. Not a missile, a warning barrage, but dangerously close. 3 orange flares arched over the Mustin's bow, sizzling out above the waterline. Provocation confirmed, the tactical officer shouted. Mark position, record video, the bridge camera word, capturing every frame. Evidence for Washington, proof of escalation, but there was still no retaliation. The captain's rule was simple: we don't fire first. 6:56 hours. On radar, 4 red icons still glowed bright, Chinese destroyers maintaining close intercept. But then something new appeared. 4 faint blue icons inbound from the east, American airpower. 2 FA-18E Super Hornets from the USS Theodore Roosevelt carrier group, and 1 P-8 Poseidon reconnaissance aircraft. ETA, 90 seconds. The Combat Information Center erupted in quiet relief. Help was coming. 6:58 hours. The nearest Chinese destroyer immediately broke formation. Its bow turned hard to port. The others hesitated, slowing their advance. The Z-9 helicopters turned away, climbing rapidly. Their radar locks vanished from the screens. Inside the Mustin's CIC, one officer whispered, "They're backing off." The captain didn't respond. He knew better than to relax. 7 o'clock hours. For 2 long minutes, both sides held formation, a silent staring contest in the middle of the sea. Then, one by one, the Chinese ships began to retreat. Their formation loosened. The fire control radars went offline. The electronic jamming ceased. Communications returned to full clarity. The radio crackled again. U.S. warship, maintain safe distance. Exercise complete. A face-saving phrase. A quiet exit. The captain didn't reply. He simply said, "All stations, remain at condition 1 until further notice." 7:06 hours. In Hawaii, Indo-Pacific Command compiled the flash report. Unsafe intercept by 4 planned destroyers, 1 submarine, 2 helicopters. No casualties. No shots fired. Freedom of navigation operation successful. But Washington wanted more than a report. They wanted answers. Why did Beijing risk this? Why escalate inside the world's most sensitive sea lane? 7:12 hours. The destroyer resumed course toward the Bashi Channel. Speed increased to 20 knots. The sea calmed. The flight deck crew retrieved sonar buoys, logging every data file. Electronic warfare teams analyzed the jamming patterns, the same encrypted modulation seen in previous Chinese drills. Everything pointed to one conclusion: this wasn't spontaneous. It was orchestrated. A test to see how far the U.S. Navy would bend before breaking. 7:21 hours. The Mustin's logbook recorded the final entry of the incident. Encounter concluded. No engagement. Mission complete. The destroyer sailed east, her wake cutting through the morning glare. Behind her, the Taiwan Strait fell quiet again. But everyone aboard knew what that silence really meant. It wasn't peace, it was preparation. Because this was no isolated event. It was part of a pattern, from the South China Sea to the Luzon Strait, from the Senkakus to Guam. The line between deterrence and conflict was getting thinner every day. 7:25 hours. The captain looked once more at the horizon, then gave his final order of the watch. Stay sharp. This won't be the last time. The crew nodded silently. Engines roared. The USS Mustin turned into the open Pacific, her hull glinting in the rising sun. Far behind them, 4 Chinese destroyers vanished into the fog. But both sides knew the truth. Next time, the outcome might not end with silence.